Okay, if you can't close, you can't get money. If you can't get somebody to give you money, which is closing, which is sales, you can't get paid. All right. Sales is your ticket to making $250,000 a year. Okay, you can make 250 grand in a sales job. You can make 250 grand selling real estate. Um, Almost any guy of an average IQ or above, as long as you do the things on this list and you can sell 250 grand's within your reality. For a lot of guys, the reality could be 500 grand. Um, Even without some fancy business, just on being able to sell. So being an excellent salesman also makes up for a lot of other weaknesses. Okay, I worked with guys in sales who were doing 250 a year. They couldn't send an email without a typo, without some kind of grammatical error. And these guys had never read a book in their lives outside of, the ones they were forced to read in high school. Occasionally I'd see a guy bringing in like one of those Dan Brown like gas station books. But you know, and God bless them, but these guys were not intellectuals by any stretch of the imagination at all. Okay, but they're crushing um, guys who were. All right, so you need to start to live and breathe sales. You need to watch everything you can of it. All right, I recommend Grant Cardone, and I also recommend my book, How to Sell, which you can find at revolutionarylifestyledesign.com/products. Number 7, marketing skills. This is the biggest mistake I made in the last 5 years. I should have done a course 3 years ago, really learned marketing, or got on board with a really good marketing guy, paid him the 2 grand a month, and blasted that course off. Because with marketing, you have this like, right now I'm dependent on inbound organic traffic, which has been serving me very well. But marketing, when you can have a product that you can get 2x on your marketing income, you can spend 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month and compound all that, right? For every dollar you make, you put it right back in the next day to your Facebook ads. And that allows you to scale your business. It also allows you a consistent stream of revenue, um, because you can just turn the tap on, and the more money you want or the more revenue you want, the more you can just, unleash that tap, so to speak, until, it becomes unprofitable. Maybe that's 70 grand a month. You start to break even. But even then, if it's a recurring business, even if you're running marketing at a bit of a loss, you make that back on the client after 2 months of recurring revenue, and your average LTV of a client is like 3 years or something. So marketing skills is the biggest. Everything else on this list I had covered or have covered except for marketing. But I started a marketing business this year. I've trained up with my buddy Aaron. I'm hoping to launch my How to Play the Game of Life course. It's going to be 100 hours. I want to make it the best personal development course of all time. And then I'm going to get really aggressive with the marketing and launching that course. The cool thing is you don't even really need like a YouTube channel or anything. It's going to be great to be able to remarket to people, but you can succeed. Like, let's say you're selling real estate or insurance or whatever on marketing alone, on the advertising. So either you have to learn that skill or you have to team up with a really good marketing agency who's going to be able to do that for you. But that's a massive skill, and a massive mistake that I made was neglecting that. It's something I kicked down the road. Huge mistake, biggest mistake I made in the last 5 years. So don't make that same mistake. But I'm making up for it now. Number 8 is organization, having a daily discipline structure that you follow every day so that you can handle the complexity of your business and life without distraction. I recommend my book, How to Get Organized, which is using the Wunderlist task management app. I've actually switched to the TickTick task management app because they're supposed to be phasing out Wunderlist. But I run my entire life on this schedule, from my shopping to my tasks to my groceries to, when a client books through my Calendly link, it puts them into my Google Calendar, which puts it into TickTick. So I can always see, all I have to do is wake up and look at that app. And then all I have to do is just get those tasks done. And that's my day. So I don't have to think about anything else, because as an expat entrepreneur and so many things to do in my life and so many things for the business, at the start of every quarter where my quarterly and monthly tasks are due, some days I'll have 77 tasks to do. There's no way I could do that without this app or without being ruthlessly organized. So organization kills a lot of guys because, they start to scale up and they're scrambling and they're not able to, they're disorganized, so they're not responding to clients, so they're losing clients and they don't have a proper system together. So being organized is important. With that said, I do know successful guys who are disorganized, but they have all the above. They're really good at sales. They're aggressive on revenue. They respond to their clients. Everything else in their life is disorganized, but they're able to do all the above, which is why I put organization at number 8. And finally, number 9 is IQ. Okay, IQ is important. It's very difficult to succeed with a below average IQ unless you have exceptional talent like singing or being able to play sports at a high level. To give you an example, the average IQ in America is about 100. If you're below 85 IQ, there's no job for you in the American military. And I mean like sweeping the floors on the deck of a Navy ship. You can't even get in with a below 85 IQ. So if your IQ is below 85, it's very hard to succeed. That being said, if you've watched the video to this point, I could almost guarantee that your IQ is at least average. Not that my content is anything exceptional, but just the fact that you're pursuing personal development, you're pursuing entrepreneurship, you're actually educating yourself, you're actually, you didn't tune out after the first minute because you have a low attention span. So chances are, if you're pursuing this stuff, you're at least average IQ. An average IQ is good enough. Like I said, I was working with guys who were making more money than me, with an average IQ because they were there first. They just figured out sales is where the money's at. Okay, boss says to make 100 calls a day. I'll just do that for a decade. Every day, head down, just hammering the phone. Okay, that's the new sales script. I'll follow that exactly. Right. So IQ is important, but it's the least important skill on this list. Now, it's very important if you want to make the next tech startup, right? But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about building the next Facebook. To build the next Facebook, you need 160 IQ. You need a ridiculous IQ, plus a lot of other things. That's a totally different ballgame. If you want to see what you actually need, check out my article and my video on how to know if you're exceptional. Okay, if you have the 160 IQ and connections and all these other things, you can go for that prize where you're not at a massive informational disadvantage. Like in my tech startup, when we had this rockstar IQ programmer, when he left, we were all effed because I couldn't make sense of anything he was doing. I couldn't shop the code around to anyone, and I was at a massive informational disadvantage. And I realized I had no business being involved in that kind of a business, right? You need to be exceptionally intelligent in programming to get in there and try and compete with the Bill Gates and the Mark Zuckerberg of the world. But for talking about your 6 figures, your 250, even your 500, you can do that with an average IQ, in my opinion. Yeah, there's barely literate sales guys making $250K a year in a job. Okay, and all those guys could be making more in their own business. And then there's a ton of guys with PhDs in medieval history working at Starbucks. Okay, the most common thing in the world is a high IQ unsuccessful guy because they don't have the right information and they're not aggressively going after money and they're not doing all the other things on the list. And a lot of those guys are kind of resentful because they can grasp how the world works, but they're not going in there and getting after it. And they think that, getting a really good education is going to be able to provide a good income for you, when in reality, it's mostly worthless, with the exception of becoming a lawyer or one of these higher income professions. But even then, the amount of money that you spend on school and the amount of time, you could have just been 18 and got a sales job for 2 years and then gone off and done your own business. You could be selling, like one of my readers was 18, the youngest real estate agent in Colorado. And, that kid will probably be a millionaire by 30. By the time all of his friends are getting out of school with debt, or his friends are, getting out of law school at like 26, 27, he'll probably be sitting on $300,000 or $400,000. That's just the reality. So IQ is important, but it's the least important on the list.